Alright, so we're going to get started. You guys should have 12 cords. I've already got 10 on here. I'm just going to show you how to do these last two. You're going to get a wooden dowel like this, but you can go find a branch or a piece of driftwood if you want. I get my driftwood over by the Carson River by the dam. So any little spot down by the river. All right, so you're gonna find the middle of your cord. And then you're gonna hold it in front, bring the back around and pull it through. It's important that this is on the front. If you can see, it's important that you can see that on the front. So if you do it the wrong way, let me show you what it looks like. So I'm finding the middle of my string here. And if I go like around the back and down, then the loop is on the back. So you want to make sure to hold it in front, bring the back up, and then pull it down towards you. And that'll make your loop in the front. All right, so we've got 12 cords on here, folded in half, so that means we got 24 strings total hanging. And we want these to be nice and tight and pretty level. All right, so I'm going to show you guys how to make this. It's just using 3 different knots, and this is the twisted sinnet. I can't think of what this is called right now. And this is like the clove hitch. All right, so we're going to get started. We're going to find the middle. We're going to find the middle 4 cords, and we're going to start right here. So work your way to the middle. 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 until you have 4 left. And you can drape them on the side to get them out of the way. All right, so what you're going to do is the middle ones aren't going to do anything. This is a 2-step knot, so you have to do 2 knots basically to complete the 1 knot. And it's kind of like a square knot. All right, so the 2 middle ones aren't doing anything. You're going to drape this right one in front. This left one is going to fall in front of that one and hook onto it and come out through the hole on this side. And you're going to tighten that all the way up to the top, making sure you're pulling down these middle ones. And now you're going to do the left side because that was the right side. So we're going to drape across front from the left. This one's going to be in front of this one and hook it. And then you're going to tighten this up. And make sure you're not bunching this up. Make sure this is nice and tight, pulled down when you tighten this. All right, so that's one. That's your first knot. Now you're going to do that same thing on the next 4 to the left. So make sure everything's tight. 2 middle ones aren't doing anything. Up over and then behind. And try to make sure you always start on the same side, like so they're all going the same direction. So this left side. And tighten. So we've got 1, 2. We need 4 on this side. Started on the right. To the left. All right, so there's the first row. And then our second row is only 2. So we're actually going to take out 2 on each side. And we're going to be left with 8. and it's splitting this middle one in half. Go across, hook onto this one and go behind. Making sure I pull the middle ones down so they stay tight. There's one. And there's two. And then we're gonna go down into one. So it's gone 3, 2, and then 1. So again, we're gonna take 2 off of each side and be left with 4. And these outside ones now become the middle. And go ahead and slow this down or re-watch it if you need to, if I'm going too fast. All right, so I got my little triangle going there. And that is the first step. So when you pull everything down, make sure you line it all back up and make sure everything's tight still. All right, so we're gonna do this knot now, which is the clove. And we're gonna take the outside one and we're following this one across. See how we're following it across? And each one is gonna get wrapped around this. So I've wrapped it over and it's going like through the hole that it made. And this I'm holding in the direction that I want it to go. So I've tightened that up there. Now I'm wrapping it around and I'm going into the hole that it made, still holding this one the direction I want it to go. So we're following this down, going around it, pulling it up, holding this the direction I want it to go. So I'm really not ever letting go of this one. We're basically doing this all the way down. And you can roll these around so they go the correct angle. And these aren't all the way tight onto our triangle. We've got kind of a gap here and we're kind of going parallel with it. And we're going to go all the way to this middle one down here, this middle one, and then go to the other side. So right here, this is my middle one on the right. So I'm going to stop right there and kind of stretch this out. And that looks pretty good. All right, now I'm going to go to the other side. So I'm going to be holding it in this hand now, and we're going to follow it down this way. So it's going around this and through its hole. And then pulling it up. And the next one, around through its hole and looping it up. All the way till it meets up with this other one down here. So I'm going to make sure I'm guiding it the right way. Because you want these to be tight. Not tight, but you don't want them to be like saggy looking in there. You want them to go straight down and then curl when they're supposed to. So getting there. All right, so I've got halfway on that one and halfway on that one. And they're meeting pretty much where they're supposed to be meeting. All right, so now it looks like I'm taking 4 out on each side. So taking 4 out and wrapping it up loosely, not like pulling it tight or yanking anything around. And then this is going to crisscross and end at the end of this. We don't want to go farther to this because we're going to do this twisted sennit. All right, so we're going to continue with this one. This one's going to go this way. This one's going to go this way. So we're jumping this. You can set it up there for a second. Jumping that and then rolling up till it's touching. And we're basically going to build like an X here. Now I can bring this one down. You kind of got to like move it around, stretch it out a little bit. That way it goes the direction you want it to. You're guiding it with this cord to where you want it to go. All right, so that's the end of that one. Make sure these are good and tight how I want them. And then we got to follow this one down. Not these guys, because we already did those on the other side. Go around and through its hole, and then pull it up. It's basically just like making a curl around our guide cord here. We get to this part. We want to make sure they're like going the same angle here. It looks pretty good. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing as we did up here, but filling this all the way in nice and tight. But we're going to start with 1, go to 2, go to 3, go to 2, go to 1. So we're going to take the middle 4, make sure it's the right middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like there should be 6 on each side. We don't really want to pull these ones up and get them out of the way because it's going to move this around. So hopefully you could do that with them in the way. Just pull them forward out of the way like this. So this one's kind of hard to get tight up in there because you've made like a triangle. So you have to like squeeze it up there as tight as you can get it. And then do the opposite way. And then that's your 1. Make sure it's tight up in there. And we're going to drop down to 2. So we've got the middle here. And we're taking 2 from this one we made. It's because this is 4, so we're splitting it in half. And 2 are going to the right and 2 are going to the left. So we're using 2 from our previous one. There we go. Do this side. So don't go down and keep going down. You have to like do 1 row and then finish the next row, or else it'll really mess you up. Then you'll be pulling cords from the wrong side. Okay, so we've done 1 and then we've done 2. So now we're going to start in the middle and do our 3. So this one's going to be in the middle, and then this one, and then this one. Right. Make sure everything's it doesn't necessarily have to be nice and tight, just everything kind of has to be consistent. You don't want some that are tight and some that are loose, because then it's going to look really off. You want to make sure that if you're going to do it loose, you do all of them loose. If you're going to do them all tight, you do them all like the same amount of tight. Almost got my row of 3 finished. All right, and then I'm going to break it back down, and I'm going to go down to 2 and then down to 1. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to split this in the middle again, this middle one in the middle, and you're going to take those 2 and then 2 from the next one and do your knot. And then the left side, so you've got those 2 from this middle one and then 2 from the one on the left. It's got 1, 2, 3, 2, and then 1. So we're going to take these middle 4 to do our last one down here. Okay. And they're all looking pretty good. They're all looking like the same amount of tightness. And now this is going to sort of like box it off the rest of the way. So we're going to go around it and stop at the bottom. All right, so we're taking this same one that was our guide the whole time, the one that's coming out of the hole here, and we're going to bring it back and turn it this way. And so this is going to go around and in the hole. And basically, it's going to zig back. And make sure you go in order when you pick up the strings so it all stays the right direction. So make sure you're picking up the very next one. And you're holding this one as your guide, which direction you want it to go. And the difference between this one and this one is this one has the gap and this one's right up on them. So when you tighten it up, put it pretty much right up as far as it'll go. All right, now that was our middle one on the right side, so we're going to stop there and do the other side. So this is turning in. We're taking this very next one and looping it through, bringing it up and around back into its hole, around and then back through. Okay. And then to close this off, you're basically going to pretend that this, whichever side you want to do, pretend that that's your last one and pull it up over it. And you're going to end like that. Put that one in the middle right there. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 1. And do like a little 1, 2, 1 situation. So that's the middle here. So we got 2 here and 2 here. I want to make sure that these stay where they're supposed to stay when we tighten this one up. And we're not tugging it around too much, all crazy like. So 1, and then we're going to take 2 from the right, and then grab 2 more. Dropping down a level. So you don't want to tighten it up like this. You want to make sure it stays down on the level that it's supposed to be. So so that your layers stay horizontal. If you tighten this up, then it would be crooked and going this way. So there's that side. And so I almost grabbed one of these, which I wasn't supposed to. So 2 here that's coming from the original, and then 2 new ones over here. Making sure we're level. So we got 1, 2, and then we're going to go back into 1. So we need 4 from the middle. Now this probably is going to take you a long time, especially if it's your first one ever. It might take you a couple of days. And it kind of is like tough on the arms to hold them up this long, depending on if you've done it a lot or not. So we've got 1, 2, 1. All right, so now we're going to get our little twisted sinnet on over here. And we're making it basically the same length as like the bottom of this last one we just finished. So we're done with this middle section for now. The twisted sinnet. You already know the first step of it. So if you like to start with the right, do the right and do the same exact thing you did for all these flat ones, except tighten it all the way up and do the same side again. So instead of switching to the left, I'm just going to keep doing the right because I'm better at the right. And I always start with the right. So you're going to keep doing the right side only. So it's basically the first step of the other knot. And it's going to start to twist. See, it's already starting to twist. So you can turn it around and grab the back side, flip-flop it, and twist with it. Make sure you're pulling these middle 2 so that they stay nice and tight and don't bunch up. See, we're starting to twist here. And I'm just making sure I'm doing the right side every time. And we are twisting. Over and over and over. And then I'm going to turn with it. Don't fight it, let it twist, and then just flip it around and start again. But making sure you're staying on the right side. So we're almost halfway. This one's really fun because it looks fancy. We're a little over halfway now. And my arms are getting tired. You definitely want to keep your macrame like shoulder height, not any higher than that, or else it's really going to hurt your arms. And take breaks when you need it for sure. Almost there. Let it twist around. Probably like one more. All right, so that's pretty good. And now, so this side, you can, so I did all these on the right side, like I crossed the right over. This one you could cross the left over, that way they twirl into each other. I didn't do that over here, I just did them both the same way. But on this one, I'll try doing the left side. I'm not as good as the left side. So let's see if I can make them twirl into each other. It's going to take a lot more thinking. Especially after you just did that side so fast. And then to like switch it up and make your brain do something else. Okay, so it wants to flip around. Left side into the front. Left over the front. Lift. Let it twist around. We'll see if I like it this way better. Oops. Twist it around. And so because these ones are doing, these outside strings are doing so many knots, they're going to start to get shorter. Because this one's not doing anything, it's staying the same length. So it's probably going to determine how short you cut it by these outside ones. Oh, I almost did the right side. Ooh, I caught myself. Stay. Left side. Left side. Left side. All right, we're almost there. Maybe like one or two more. Twist it around. Oop, almost did the right side again. Left side. Still looks like one more. It's important that these try to be the same height. That looks pretty good. All right, so we're gonna do this clove hitch again, using the outside one, and then following it into the middle, underneath this one, but not right onto it. But we're kind of going like a little V, like little chevron shape there. So this outside one, and it looks like actually I went too far down because that would be straight across. So I'm gonna pull a couple of these out so we have a nice V. Let's see what would happen then. No. Okay, so pull a couple of these out. I don't want it to go straight across. So that looks pretty good. Make this the same size. So if I take this outside one and I go straight across or down, that looks fine, and down. We'll see what happens. It doesn't matter if there's like a bigger gap there. So twist this up so you have one that's straight onto the outside like that, nice and flat. So it's like you know which one the outside one is. All right, so our very next one is this one, and we're gonna flip it around it, tighten it up. The next one, flip it around it, tighten it up. So basically these are all on the original one, and then we're gonna hook it to this one. And I'm gonna start going down at an angle. Make sure I'm guiding it with my cord here, which way I want to go. We're going to go to the middle one here. This is the middle one on the right. And then stop. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Actually, that looks pretty much the same as this one, so that's pretty good. All right, here's our outside one, and it's going to guide us in. So we take the very next one, go around, and pull it up. And this one's guiding us where we want to go. Hook it to this. You want to check it every once in a while, make sure it's like everything's laying straight and you're grabbing the right one. It's definitely easy for the cords to cross and then grab the wrong one, because they're hiding behind each other sometimes. All right. And since I already have this one in my hand, I'm just going to go ahead and hook these together. I'm going to kind of roll them around and stretch them out a little bit. And we're going to do one more row of this. So we're going to take the very outside one again from each side. And then go around it and down and do it all over again. Oh, I almost grabbed the wrong one. All right, so then this is our last one because these have crisscrossed now. So make sure that this one goes around it. And then that's the end of that side. And then you're going to take the outside here and do another row on this side. The first one is always the trickiest to get laying the right way, especially if you're coming back around a corner. Almost done. And obviously you can switch this up like however you want it. Like if you only want one row right here, you could just do one row. If you want 3 rows, you could do 3 rows. Just play around with it and you can make your own pattern. You could add more twisted sennets. You could leave them loose and not hook them back in. That's always an option. Okay, since I hooked it on the other side the last time, I'm going to hook it on this side this time. Just so it kind of looks crisscrossed. It fills that hole there. And kind of like stretch it out. Make sure it's looking good. And this is always tricky because one is like crisscrossing the other one. So but now we're going to do a 1, 2, 1 again. So we got to find our middle 4. So these guys. And now I start on the right. Then go to the left. And then we're going to drop down and take 2 of the left ones with 2 of these. And we might want to make sure we step down a row instead of making it tight up to there. Make sure it stays sort of horizontal. And then we've got the 2 other ones on the right side with 2 to the right. So we've got 1, 2, and then we're going to just go back into 1. So these middle 4 here. All right. And that is it. You can do, you can add whatever else you want to this. What do you guys think? Do you like this is going the same direction? I actually kind of like it going into itself. It would be cool too if it was going out, twisting on the outside too. All right, so you should have an extra cord in there that was shorter than your 12 cords that you can make a hanger out of like this. I usually wrap it around 2 times and then just tie a regular knot and cut it off. And then you can cut the bottom off at whatever height you want to. And then you can also dip dye this. You guys picked a dip dye color, so. To dip dye it, you're gonna mix your powdered color with 1.5 cups of water, and then use your glove. And I usually mix it in like a mason jar or like a Tupperware, and go ahead and dip it in however far you want. And then with your glove hand, squeeze it out, as much of the color out as you can, and then lay it outside to dry. I usually lay it outside. So you kind of want to do it on a good day where it's not raining and stuff. So yeah, that's about it. And if you guys want to go get a stick, they're nice. It's nice to have a stick, but it also looks fun with just a dowel too. It's a little cleaner. So whatever look you want. This is like a little more clean. This is a little more rustic. And that's it, guys. And then once you've got the knots down, then you can make your own pattern and figure out a cool one that you like. All right. Bye, guys.